It was the best of times. It was the blurst of times. It was the best. It was the best. It was the best of times. It was the blurst of times. It was the best. You stupid monkey. You're gonna regret this. Me? Till you're dead.
We got a question for you. Do you like to die in video games? Do you like to learn by dying and strategically think out every fight? Well, if you don't, this is not the game for you. If you thought Dark Souls, Bloodbourne and the like were hard, wait until you play the Surge series. Surge 2 is out now, and forewarning, this game is not for the faint of heart, or for those with high blood pressure.
Sinking. You did?
Yeah, man.
If you've never played one of these endurance and rage testing games, here's the brief version. Enemies deal a heap of damage. You need to block, dodge, roll to avoid taking damage, defeat the enemy, and move on to a boss-like character for the level. Should you die, and you will, you'll start at the nearest checkpoint or medbay. In the Dark Souls titles, campfires are used as checkpoints, and it's the same with Surge 2. Your character can enter a medbay to heal themselves, upgrade their abilities and weapons, and even craft new gear. Once you've entered a medbay, any enemies in the area you've defeated will instantly respawn. So if you've cleared a room of 5 enemies and enter a medbay, be prepared for that same fight.
But we already did it. It took 7 hours, but we did it. It's done.
Yes, but we've got to do it from different angles. Again and again. And again and again and again.
The only enemies that don't respawn are thankfully bosses. You'll start the Surge 2 by creating a character and basically waking up from a coma after surviving a plane crash that starts where the end of the first Surge game ended. That's the extent of the story players will be given when first firing up the Surge. Of course, naturally as you progress, you'll experience more of this robotic and chaotic world.
In actual news, the human race was doomed to extinction today as the robot revolt turned violent.
Combat in the Surge 2 feels great. And that's one thing with these very, very hard games, is the combat needs to be on point, and thankfully it is. With light and heavy attacks mapped to your right bumper or R1 and right trigger or R2, landing a heavy attack or a charged heavy attack on an annoying as shit boss is really satisfying. In combat, you won't just focus on dealing damage, but you'll also need to manage your stamina. Traditionally, everything you do from running, dodging, jumping, blocking and attacking uses stamina. So if you're wailing into a boss and run out of stamina, you won't be able to quickly dodge out of their attacks, and well, you'll most likely die. Or in our case, call the boss a fucking arsehole who has way too many weapons. And how is this even an opening boss?
There's the still undisputed!
Oh, besides managing your health and your stamina, you'll also be managing a battery bar. Each attack you land on an enemy charges up this battery, which can be used for creating healing syringes or can be used to execute enemies. When you execute an enemy, you have a chance of retrieving parts off the enemy such as weapons or weapon parts or even armor and crafting parts. At the start of the game, at the end of combat, when you're given the ability to create syringes, you can only hold 2 at a time. Though during fighting, you can actually create syringes while you're in the middle of a fight, which is quite handy. Another thing to note though, is if you've created enough syringes and you still have energy left over in your batteries, the energy will actually fade away. We did find it a little bit strange that if you want to execute, or cut as it's called in this game, it needs 1 bar of battery, and a prompt needs to appear on the screen to do so. If you find the Surge 2 too hard, the answer is too bad. No, you can't change the difficulty, so you need to learn from your mistakes. Games like the Surge 2 are like the Yankees, or Collingwood, or the Lakers, or Sebastian Vettel. You either love them or you hate them, there isn't really a middle ground. The Surge 2 will keep you glued to your screen, so long as you don't throw your controller through it.